What a nice, cozy little fire. Hey everyone, welcome back to episode 13 of my Divine Journey 2 Let's Play. I hope you're all doing well. It's been a bit since my last episode, and I have been doing well myself. I took some time off to I say, like this is a job. No, I took some time off to go spend some time with family. And then I got the flu for a bit, but I'm all better now, and we're in the new year, and a new year means progress. I managed to build an actual house. Let's take a look out front. I am pretty happy with it. I think that it looks pretty cute. It's definitely different than everything else I've built over there, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I kind of like that. And this is the front door. Oh, also, as you may be able to tell, I got a new microphone finally, and I think it sounds much, much better. So hopefully it sounds better for you guys too. More consistent is what I'm going for. Yeah, so we got a little cuckoo clock and just some bookshelves and stuff, a little fish. I wish the fish had animation, but maybe if I right click it, no. Next, we got a little kitchen, a little dining room, dining table, bunch of different countertops with some stuff, some area to store things. A little cat clock. I want one of these in real life so bad. I think they're so fun. But anyways, heading upstairs into our little foyer here. That's another thing I want to do is I think I rush too much when I'm trying to show you guys the things I've built. So I'm going to slow down. In here is a little bedroom with some great movies, Star Wars and the Rocky Horror Picture Show. We got some more plants, a little book stand, or not a book stand. What am I saying? This is a... Don't tell me. I know it. I know it. I know it. Oh my goodness. I'm going to be kicking myself because I'm probably going to remember as we're coming down the door. Coming down the door. Coming down the way. Oh. Sorry. There's a lamp here. This is a wardrobe. The wardrobe turns off the lamp. Lamp on, wardrobe open, lamp off. That is good to know. But anyways, yeah, little wardrobe, some shoes and stuff. A guitar. I play guitar in real life for those of you who don't know, so I had to have a guitar there. A little moon, an actual bed to sleep in. Let me just give you a good overview. Heading over here, we got a little bathroom, a nice cozy bathroom. Every good house needs a bathroom. I can't think of any good houses that don't have a bathroom. If you know of any, let me know. And then heading up here, we have a little attic. And I made this kind of like a laboratory almost, like a little telescope, books sitting everywhere, a safe. Maybe I'll put something for safekeeping in there. Another little stool so I can work on alchemy. Some Bunsen burners with some flasks, shelf of potions, some bookshelves, a little painting, a jukebox. You need a jukebox. Yep. So, anyways, I hope you guys like the little house I built. I'm quite a fan of it. I think it'll be nice to kind of give some life to this world, which is definitely something I want to do. I think that it'll make it feel a lot more lived in. It already does. And I want to continue to expand it. I want to put stuff around the side here, like maybe a little dock going out, a little fishing pier, some bushes and stuff, make it a bit less ugly. So now that I've talked about the things that are beautiful, let's get to the things that are not beautiful. Okay, so while I was sick, I tried to make some progress on automating our different machine tools, automating our machine frames. And it hasn't been going so great. So over here we got two things, making steel plates and steel, maybe this is steel plates. Yeah, steel rods and steel plates, as well as a formulaic assemblator to make the very first tier of machine frames. And to do this, I have, what do you call these? The level emitter. I have the level emitter going straight into the export bus to monitor it, because I was finding that, like, I didn't want this to just keep crafting. I didn't want this to just keep going. Sorry, brain fart. I didn't want this to keep going just endlessly. I wanted the level emitter to apply and for it to work with the export bus to just stop putting stuff in, because I think if this continues, it'll just endlessly go being exported into there, and keep it at 64 of each, which will just immediately run our rods out. And I didn't really want to do that. I was having some supply issues, so I threw the level emitter on the export bus just to immediately stop it in its tracks. And that's worked pretty well. We're getting the first machine frames. Let's look up the recipe for them. Machine frame. Steel casing is what I was looking for. The steel casing, we're getting those crafted, which is pretty cool. And then came the issue of the next tier of steel casing. And the design you see behind me is like my 5th or 6th attempt. And I hate it. I hate this thing. I think it looks so bad. And it doesn't work very well either. If it worked, I could forgive it for how I'm doing it, using level emitters going into the export bus. I'm sure that this like might be fine, but I hate how it looks. So this is all to craft RF powder. GP powder, I think. GP powder. Yeah, that's all to craft GP powder. And I've been running into so many issues because the formulaic assemblicators require, for the GP powder, requires diamond dust and crushed black quartz. So I need to crush that, but then it also requires GP powder as an input. And I have all this set up. And I was just finding that it was really hard to make it so that like some GP powder would always stay here, because if all of it gets thrown into this formulaic assemblator, it won't see with the level emitter that it needs 16. So it'll constantly be throwing all of our diamonds and black quartz into here and crushing it. And then eventually it'll get to the 16 that it needs to craft, and it'll still be crafting up all of the diamonds and quartz, which I don't really want it to do. Maybe one day when I have more diamonds and quartz, but that's not today. So it works essentially. I took all the GP powder out of it and made sure that it's just kind of sitting there. So as long as I don't like take it and do a super batch craft and use it all up. That's the other thing I'm afraid of, is using up all my GP powder and not having any left. I think, let me put my armor back on. I believe, I think I'm going to store the GP powder in my armor, so like I always have at least one, because it is quite annoying to try to craft again. Where is it used? Yeah, it's used in the RF powder. I don't have the stuff to make festive powder anymore, so if I really lose this GP powder, I will have to go back to Icica, and I do not want to go back to Icica. This led me to kind of be like, oh man, this isn't a great solution. I don't want to start batch crafting like so much stuff like for this machine block, which is only the 2nd tier, because the GP powder is used to make polished stone, and so you need a ton of GP powder to make all the polished stone you need for all the machine blocks. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I can make do. Like I got the GP powder automated. Stone, we have plenty of stone. Stone's not really an issue. Can craft that using another formulaic assemblator into the polished stone, and then that can get turned into stone burnt. Like I guess that works. Like that could work potentially. What else is needed? Atomic alloy. And this is where everybody, I have decided to give up. I'm not gonna currently do an assembly line, because for the atomic alloy you need the reinforced alloy, which takes compressed obsidian, and you need compressed diamond to make that, and you need compressed redstone to make that. And I, for the life of me, cannot figure out how to make it so that you're getting the compressed things at a steady rate, so that you're not flooding your system with compressed items. Maybe with a level emitter, there's a way to do it more simply than I'm thinking, but the way that I really know how to do it is with AE2 autocrafting and not using the mechanism formulaic assemblicators. If we go to our quest book, we're not terribly far, truthfully, from the AE2 autocrafting. It's in chapter 13, and we're, for all intents and purposes, done with chapter 10. Chapter 10, you need the soul machine chassis and all the different things related to that, but I can craft those things. That's not a huge deal. I just wanted to, before we went into another tier of the machine frames, I was planning on making production for all of the different machine frames. However, it's important to admit sometimes when you're in over your head, and that's what I have not been doing. I was waiting to try to do all that and have it ready for this video, but that's not going to be the case. So what we're going to pivot to now is almost blitzing to get done the soul machine, to get to the, I think it's this is the Z-Logic Soul Eater, something like that, and then going through industrial foregoing, quantum flux, solar flux reborn, and integrated dynamics, trying to get stuff set up with those, and then actual technology, going through with those, and then finally getting to peak machinery and getting our auto crafting. I know that that might come to bite me in the rear. I am hoping that it doesn't, but I think it might. I am going to start continuing through the chapters, finishing up chapter 10 and heading to chapter 11, chapter 12, and chapter 13. And of course, you all will be coming for the ride. I think I'm still going to be doing what I have been doing, as in creating basic automation for things that are used, using like induction smelters or wherever, sawmills, pulverizers, what have you, and sending them in with level emitters to just keep things stocked. I think that is still good, but just for the machine blocks at this current state, I am not going to do that. I am going to progress forward. So without further ado, onwards. It's the next day, and I've made some progress that I would like to share with you all. I have been busy getting up some stuff for Solarium. I think that's what it's called, Solarium. We'll double check together. My house is a little hard to maneuver with all the DecoCraft stuff around, but I'm making do. Let's go over to our factory to show you what I got going on. What I've replaced everything over here with is the new items that I've unlocked in the quest book. To make dead bushes, to make twigs, I think they're called. Let's see, twigs. Yeah, twigs and prunings. And the reason why we're making twigs and prunings is to make brown dye. Brown dye is made with twigs and prunings and slime balls, or importantly, as we'll cover in a second, twigs and prunings and eggs. We need black dye, which is made with pulverized coal and charcoal, or pulverized charcoal and regular charcoal, which we have a ton of, and slime balls or eggs to make black dye. And the reason why we need all of these is to make the soul attuned dye blend, which is used to make the soul machine chassis. And the soul machine chassis is used to make the soul binder. And we got a soul binder over here, which you can use for a bunch of different crafting recipes. Oh, armor with inventory equipped. Let's put armor with inventory on. You can use that to make these Z-Logic controllers, which in chapter 10 is really kind of the next steps to make Z-Logic controllers, make these soul vials, and make the soul binder. So you make these in the slice and splice machine, and with these you can make a whole ton of stuff. Importantly, the soul vials, which when you use the soul vials with Where is it? Somewhere here. When you capture a mob, you can take over to the Soulbinder and use the Soulbinder to do a whole bunch of stuff. Let's look up the Soulbinder here. And yeah, you can enchant a bunch of stuff like into different crystals, a bunch of different recipes which we'll need. So soul vials from like witches, shulkers, endermen. You right click any mob and you can get their soul in it, and that's used just for a whole bunch of different crafting recipes, including a bunch of important ones. What we also need for the recipe, beyond the twigs and prunings and the coal and stuff, is eggs. I have started a small egg farm, but I think my next step is I want to make it bigger because we need a lot of this soul attuned dye blend, and the organic brown dye, it does take a lot of eggs and a lot of twigs and prunings, because for every 1 brown dye we need 6 twigs and 1 egg, and for every 2 soul attuned dye blend we need 4 brown dye. It adds up. Let me show you the little chicken farm I got going on. I've encountered a glitch. This component pouch here was absolutely chock full of all the things I need to cast my spells, and now it's completely gone, which is not very cool. I don't know what happened, but I really hope it didn't delete the drawers that I had over here with all the stuff. My computer did crash, so it's probably that. Just a heads up for all of you playing the mod pack. Okay, there's still plenty here. Let's take all of those. Let's take all of these, all of these. We should be good. Ah! Not the fish and chips. I'm panicking. I'm not panicking that much. These things are so annoying. I can't wait to get the Mega Torch. We won't have to deal with them. Where are my fish and chips? There's my fish and chips. Anyways, I will see you at the little chicken farm. Where I'm standing may just look like a roof, but if you listen closely, you can hear chickens creating eggs. And I kind of feel terrible for them in this little hole. This was really just a temporary design because I didn't realize how many eggs I would need. I was like, oh, surely like I only need like a couple chickens, like a handful of chickens, and that'll be able to create enough eggs. And while we have 210 now, that is not nearly the amount we need. So the thing I want to do now, and I'm going to bring you all along for the ride, is building a chicken coop. Chicken coop. Let's get started. Now I got a nice little chicken coop going. I am happy with it, and I'm happy with the amount of eggs we'll be able to get from it. I wanted to make one that originally had like a little outside area for the chickens to go, but in Divine Journey 2, there are the black wolves, I believe they're called, which kill your passive mobs, so they had to be indoors. I'm not going to open this door. I could if I want, but I think all the chickens would run out. But we got a nice little window and can see all the little chickies in there. The way this is set up is down here we just have an absorption hopper. If we open this up, show the area, it literally just sits on the coop. I was gonna add some radius upgrades, but it really doesn't need it. Turns out I built the coop the perfect size. I didn't even intend to do that. So we'll be able to just cover this bad boy up, and that's connected to an import bus which has a little line going through it. There we go. And now we will be getting infinite eggs, which is lovely. I can always throw more chickens in there. There's a lot of room left. I still have the chickens up in the middle of the mechanism building for now. I'll leave them there for a bit just because, you know, just extra eggs. Can't complain. And now what we're going to be doing is getting the rest of the things for the soul dye automated. So we have, fortunately, up here we have getting dead bushes, which eventually get turned into twigs and prunings. The charcoal, we have plenty of charcoal. So I might not make that into a automation. I might just manually make sure we have charcoal for now, but I want to make the brown dye, like the actual alloy smelting, automated, and I want to make the black dye similarly also automated, and I want to make, I think it's green dye. organic green dye. I want to make that automated too. What do we need for that? We need clippings and trimmings. I'm finding these clippings and trimmings are very useful to get. I'm not sure. Yeah, the clippings and trimmings you can get from stuff like leaves, which is really useful because leaves are really easy to get. Cactus too, which is also really easy to get, and it looks like you can get a lot from cactus. So we might try to use that. We might try to use cactus for that. Anyways, I'm gonna get started. See you soon. Okie dokie, we got a little setup going for our next step for the organic dyes. I ripped out the whatever they were called, Spice and Slice and Soul Binder or whatever, and went over here and just created another sag mill to start cutting up the dead bushes and the cacti to make the clippings and trimmings, because with the clippings and trimmings you could just get organic green dye. Otherwise you still need the charcoal if you just go from green dye or cactus or something. So this is pretty easy, and with the cactus you can get up to 12, which I think the rates might be a little bit worse, but it's fine. It's fine. We're smelting saplings into dead bushes to get the other stuff, the twigs and prunings, which are the same essentially. So I chose to not set up the alloy smelters at this time for each of them, just because I don't think we'll be needing them in that big supply. I could change it pretty quickly. They're relatively easy to set up, those alloy smelters. So while we're doing this, I'm just going to be grabbing green dye because I think we already have a fair amount. Yeah, we already have like 69 green dye, 20 organic brown dye, and 59 black dye. So I could just grab some and toss them into a alloy smelter to get them as I need them. And then once we get to further down the quest line and further down the material line, we will be able to set up more automation for them. Let me show you how I made the cactus automation. Now, we're down here near my storage room because I had a bit of space that I could use, and I used that space to create a very high-tech modded cactus farm. That was a joke. This is like the most basic cactus farm you can have. It's just the cactus goes up and hits the fence and breaks. And over here, we have a little absorption hopper. I can show you the area. It's perfectly set up around this, the green kind of I don't even know what you call this, like a green shade that you see around is where the absorption hopper's picking up, and just everywhere around here it picks up the cactus as needed. And this can be expanded upon pretty easily with just absorption radius upgrades, and that gets dumped into the cables and gets sent into our system and gets pulled out by the sag mill. Pretty happy with it. It's been producing a fair amount of cactus. It is pretty slow. I think that there's probably a better like roots soil that you could use, but I couldn't really figure it out, and I don't think we're gonna be needing that much cactus, so I just went old school. If we need more cactus, I can also just expand the thing behind me, which is what I'll probably do if we do need more cactus. But yeah, pretty happy with it and pretty good for what we need. I think that's where I'm going to call this episode. We did get a lot done. We now have a little house to live in, finally, rather than me just roaming around my storage room and factories. We got some setups going for automation to progress us forward. We also came up with a good idea for what we want to do in the future. Getting through chapter 11, getting stuff like plastic and slime and different things. Another thing we unlocked that I started going through are the solar panels. And with this solar panel, this is really amazing. You can get up to 512 FE per tick, and you can double that with some upgrades, which is just with 2 of these guys, it's enough to power a excavator completely on its own. So I think the next episode, that's really what I'm going to be dedicating myself towards. Getting the brown slime, I think it's called. So moving through these quests, which I don't think will be too terribly difficult. Moving through all these, getting the brown slime, getting those solar panels, and setting up excavators like everywhere. Currently, we only have the one excavator, and that is over looking at our coal and emerald and diamonds. But it would be really great to have more without short-circuiting my my power setup, because my power setup is not that good. It's kind of a mess. It's been really just barely getting me through. So if we can start really hammering out these solar panels, that would just be fantastic. I'll probably batch craft a ton and then just use those from now on and really just use them where I need them. Or we'll see. We'll see. And we're going to progress further too. And I'm really excited because we'll get into eventually, I think here, yeah, mechanism, fusion reactors, fission reactors, whatnot. And that'll give us even more power and solve our energy stuff for good. And I'm also really excited to get through the tech stuff and get into the magic stuff. I haven't really touched too many magic mods, and I think it'll be really fun to get into some deep automation with magic. And I can't wait for you guys to join me on it. Well, it's that time. I hope you've all enjoyed this episode. I'm sorry it's been so long since I last uploaded, but that won't be the case anymore. You'll be hearing from me shortly. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.